Shulamith Firestone was a radical feminist as well as a futurist. In her book, The Dialect of Sex, Firestone envisioned a utopian society where men and women are entirely equal. To achieve this, she argued that the battle of sexes had to end. Thus, gender was to be eliminated entirely. Firestone theorized that at the core of gender and equality was an accident of biology. Physiologically, women are the ones capable of carrying babies. As a result, all gender roles are rooted from this fact. Therefore, if pregnancy and childbirth are eliminated, gender can be eliminated as well. Firestone was a futurist precisely because she anticipated anything could be possible in a brave new world, and that the old patriarchal, biological, political, and social tyrannies could be overturned through the development of cybernetic and assisted reproductive technologies, such as artificial wombs, birth control, and IVF, therefore ultimately ending the historical excuse for female oppression. Throughout the presentation, I will argue that Firestone's vision for a society where the distinction between men and women is indistinct, where artificial reproduction and cybernation break down the misfortunes that are brought by patriarchal social structures and biological families, is possible yet implausible. What makes the concept compelling is the fact that information technology is becoming increasingly developed and widely available. Firestone establishes two forms of division of labor. First, she notes Frederick Engel's original division of labor, where he indicates it to be between a man and a woman for the purpose of child breeding, where within the family, the husband is the owner, the wife is the means of production, and the child is the laborer. Firestone ultimately attempts to eliminate this division. Throughout her book, Firestone alluded to the idea of a cyborg, a metaphor which Donna Haraway emphasized in her A Cyborg Manifesto. She explains that a cyborg does not depend on human reproduction for its existence. Moreover, she views a cyborg to be outside of gender, therefore eliminating the notions of what is masculine and what is feminine. Essentially, it is a figure that shows promise for feminism. Haraway argues that the female cyborg relieves the female body from its subjugation to nature and merges the body and machine to produce a petrifying and uncanny prospect of female intelligence. Gender is learned, and therefore gender has technology. Within the cyborg, gender no longer develops as a binary, but as a multiple construction dependent upon random formations beyond masculine and feminine. Haraway shows the cyborg to be some form of a monster. She compares the cyborg to Frankenstein, affirming that a cyborg does not anticipate to be saved by its father, unlike Frankenstein, nor does it seek fulfillment by pursuing a heterosexual soulmate or desire community by way of a nuclear family. Their creators are inessential, and therefore their role as childbearer is no longer necessary. Thus, the flawed matches between gender and desire, sex and gender, and the body and technology can be accommodated within the automated cyborg, since it is always partial, part machine and part human. It is always becoming human or becoming woman. This reaffirms the impartiality of cyborgs. Firestone recognizes that the heart of a woman's oppression is in her childbearing and child-rearing role. They become possessive of the children, since they had undergone a 9-month pregnancy, experiencing emotional and physical turmoil and discomfort. As a side effect, motherly love is unconditional, while fatherly love is conditional. However, the nature of this bond, Firestone affirms, is no more than shared oppression. Sigmund Freud developed the Oedipus complex, which explains the relationship between mother and father and child. This complex was common for individuals growing up in a nuclear family in a patriarchal society. This increases the inequalities that are inherent to the biological family, therefore making its termination necessary. Tuya Tekla, in his Human Before Sex, Ectogenesis as a Way to Equality, has similar philosophies as Firestone when it comes to achieving utopia. In his utopia, everyone is to be a human being first, and then by choice could they become social biological parents. Artificial reproduction, ectogenesis, would allow for this since it would open the doors to biological motherhood to all humans. Discourses are gendered in society. Therefore, by removing a woman's reproductive biology from the system through the use of artificial wombs, ectogenesis, she is no longer bound to sexual imbalances of power, ultimately allowing the gestation process to occur outside the womb. As a result, genital differences among individuals with privileges one sex over another would no longer culturally matter. This separation would enable children to be born to both sexes equally or independently of either. This would then create a classless society where every individual's interests would be synonymous with those of the larger society. Moreover, the division of labor would utterly cease to exist through the elimination of labor hibernation, consequently ending the tyranny of the biological family. This brings us to Firestone's second form of division of labor, which she identifies to be located in the workplace. Men and women were created distinctive from one another. Men are identified with thought, intellect, and reason, while body, emotion, and intuition classify the woman. This creates a patriarchal system where the woman is forced into her female role and is rejected as an equal, therefore engendering discrimination in the workplace. To lift this taboo, Firestone suggests hibernation as a means to an end. Cybernetics in itself is a science of control, a notion that does not depend on the domination of an external object. Firestone recognizes that there are neutral bodies distinct from social relations, and as a result, she is prepared for the total control of now alienated bodies in a machine-determined future. The technology of intelligence may now be interwoven with the technology of gender. Ergo, cybernetics allows humanity to master nature in its entirety, since the control of new technology would permit the replacement of the destroyed natural balance with the establishment of new equilibrium between man and his new artificial environment. Cybernetics will seize the work function through the use of complex machines, and these machines will equal or even surpass man in his thinking and problem solving. With cybernation, no one will be bringing home the bacon, since job discrimination would no longer have grounds in a state where machines do work better than any human being. Thus, machines act as equalizers, eliminating the class system that is founded on exploitation of labor. The thought behind cybernation as a useful tool for the liberation of women has its merits. However, I would have to maintain that although Firestone made convincing arguments as to how to end the tyranny of women, human nature is still innate. Advances in technology may give women more control over their body, yet the role as caregiver is inherent in their nature. In conclusion, Firestone was a futurist since she was able to envision a new world of liberated women and the means to achieving it. However, even with the creation of ectogenesis and the prospects of cybernation, women would consider these options only where they reinforce and further present values of family and reproduction.